Hi students, myself Babida Matthew. Today I am going to discuss about the topic abnormal uterine action. In normal labor, it is characterized by coordinated uterine contractions associated with the progressive dilatation of cervix and descent of the fetus. This is normally occur when the normal labor occur. Normal labor is associated with cervical dilatation be more than 1 cm per hour in nulliparous woman and is likely to end in successful vaginal delivery. Overall labor abnormalities occur in about 25% nulliparous women and 10% of multiparous women. We can see the abnormal uterine action. Any deviation of the normal pattern of uterine contractions affecting the course of labor is designated as disorders or abnormal uterine action. So that is any deviation from the normal pattern. We already explained you about the normal pattern, how the contraction, dilatation and the descent of the part, and the normally within 1 centimeter, more than 1 centimeter per hour will be dilatation. So if there is any deviation from the normal pattern, it is known as abnormal uterine action. Let us see the etiology. First, prevalent in first birth, especially with elderly women, and prolonged pregnancy, over distension of the uterus. It is over distension usually because of twins pregnancy, fibroid. Emotional factors such as anxiety and stress, and constitutional factors such as obesity, contracted pelvis and malpresentation, injudicious administration of sedatives, analgesics and oxytocins, premature attempts at vaginal delivery or attempted instrumental vaginal delivery under light anesthesia. So these are the etiological factors of abnormal uterine action. Next we can see the types of abnormal uterine action. The normal polarity and abnormal polarity, it is divided. In a normal polarity there is hypertonic dysfunction, that is excessive contraction. Then hypertonic dysfunction, that is uterine inertia is common. Then hypertonic dysfunction, that is there may be chance of obstruction is absent and obstruction is present. So when the obstruction is absent, that is causes the precipitate labor. The obstruction is present, uterine tonic uterine contraction and retraction, that is bandle ring is formed. Next we can see the abnormal polarity. So abnormal polarity that causes spastic lower segment is common, colicky uterus, asymmetry uterine contraction, constriction ring, generalized tonic contraction and cervical distortion. These are different types of abnormal uterine action. This is the same thing is explained in the types, that is normal polarity and abnormal polarity. Normal is uterine inertia, excessive contraction, that is precipitate labor, tonic uterine contraction and retraction. And abnormal polarity causes spastic lower segment, cervical dystocia, constriction ring and generalized tonic contractions. So each one you can see in the detail. First is uterine inertia. What is uterine inertia? It is a common type of disordered uterine contractions, but is comparatively less serious. That is, this is one of the common type of disordered uterine contraction. The uterine contraction, the intensity is diminished. Intensity means when a contraction comes, it lasts for how many minutes, that is intensity. You already studied in the normal labor, that is mild, moderate and severe. That is the intensity of contraction. So that intensity will be diminished, and duration means after coming one contraction to next contraction, that is the duration of 1 second to third, that is a duration, and duration also shortened. So this type of uterine contraction intensity also diminished, so that's why the mild contraction will be the, and duration means the contraction after first contraction immediately the second contraction will come, but the contraction's intensity is very diminished. Then there will be good relaxation in between the contraction and the intervals are increased. So later on the relaxation means after one contraction the duration in between the contraction will be long, that is relaxation time will be long, and the interval also will be increased between the each contraction. That is the uterine inertia. Uterine inertia, the uterine contraction will be intensity is diminished and duration is shortened. Then good relaxation in between the contraction and the interval between the contraction will be increased. So that is the uterine inertia. Next we can see how we can diagnose the uterine inertia. There will be less pain during the contraction because of mild contractions usually occur. That's why less pain during the contraction, and less hardening of the uterus. That's also because of less contractions, and uterus become relaxed after the contraction. We already explained that there will be a relaxation time will be more. So uterus will be relaxed after the contraction, and fetal parts are well palpable, and FHR remains good. Then internal examination reveals there will be poor dilatation of cervix and membranes usually remain intact. These are the diagnoses for the uterine inertia. What are the effects of the mother and the fetus? There will be maternal exhaustion because the labor will be prolonged due to mild contraction. So the mother will be exhausted, and fetal distress are unusual and appear late because fetal distress will not be occur because it is very light contractions are usually occurring. That's why there will not be any chance of fetal distress. But if there is a chance, that will occur late because the labor will prolong, and that may cause the fetal distress in the late stage. Next, management. The cesarean section, because the labor will become prolonged. That's why cesarean section, if presence of contracted pelvis, malpresentation and evidence of fetal or maternal distress. Then vaginal delivery, if we want to do, that is active measures should be adopted. That is acceleration of the uterine contraction. The acceleration means uterine contraction will be increased by low rupture of membrane followed by oxytocin. So if the patient is having uterine inertia, that is a mild contraction, and the interval is very long, then we can improve the contraction by low rupture of membrane and oxytocin drip. You already studied in the induction of labor. Okay. Next, the precipitate labor. So a labor is precipitate when the combined duration of first and second stage is less than 2 hours associated with hyperactive uterine contraction. The uterine contraction will be hyperactive. So the duration of the normal labor will be less than 2 hours. That is known as precipitate labor. The labor is shorter as the rate of cervical dilatation is 5 cm per hour, usually 1 cm per hour. But in this one precipitate labor, the cervical dilatation will be say 5 cm per hour. So within 2 hours normally delivery will occur. So what are the maternal risks? The extensive lacerations of vagina, cervix and perineum will occur because of the hypertonic contractions, and PPH due to hypotonia that develops subsequently, and inversion. There will be chance of inversion, uterine inversion. You can see the picture, and uterine rupture may be occur, and there is a chance of infection. So these are the maternal risks due to the precipitate labor. Next is a fetal risk. Intracranial stress or hemorrhage. Because of precipitate labor, there is a chance of intracranial stress or hemorrhage, and injuries from the torn cord or direct hit on the skull may be occur. These are the fetal risks. Next we can see the management. Patient having previous history of precipitate labor should be hospitalized prior to labor. So if they are having the history of previous labor, or if it was precipitate labor, then we should hospitalize the patient prior to the date. Then administer ether or magnesium sulfate to suppress the contraction. Then oxytocin augmentation should be avoided, and careful conduct of the delivery, because if the sudden delivery of the baby occur, there may be chance of baby may fall. So that's why careful conduct of delivery and prevent the injury of the cervicovaginal canal. And delivery of the head should be controlled, and episiotomy should be done liberally. If needed, only we have to give the episiotomy. So these are the management of precipitate labor. Already I explained you Precipitate labor is when the duration of first and second stage togetherly only lasts for less than 2 hours is a precipitate labor. Next is tonic uterine contraction and retraction. So this type of uterine contraction is predominantly due to obstructed labor. Pathological anatomy of the uterus, gradual increase in intensity. Actually, the normal anatomy of the uterus gradually increase the intensity, duration and frequency of contraction. You already know in the normal labor when you are studying. So, the intensity usually when the uterine contraction comes, that is mild contraction, and duration will be sometimes 5 minutes, 4 minutes, like that. The first contractions, the pain starting, the contraction will be mild with duration. After one contraction, after 5 minutes, second contraction. Then when the labor progress, what will happen? The mild contraction will become moderate and the duration will be decreased, like 3 minutes interval. Moderate contractions will occur. Then when it becomes severe contraction, so when the severe contraction means the intensity increases, such is from mild to moderate to severe. When it increases to severe, the duration of the contraction, the contraction between the one contraction to second contraction, that interval become short, and that is every 2 minutes one severe contraction. Like that, the gradual increase in intensity and duration and frequency of contractions will occur. Then the relaxation phase becomes less and less. So when the progress of labor usually occur, the relaxation time, I already explained you, first there will be 5 minutes, then 4 minutes, then 3 minutes, 2 minutes, then 1 minute. Like that, relaxation phase will become less and less. Ultimately, the state of tonic contractions develop. Then retractions continues and lower segment elongates and become very thin. This is the normal pathological anatomy of the uterus. So a circular groove encircling the uterus is formed. So in the tonic uterine contraction and retraction, in this one, what will happen? A circular groove encircling the uterus is formed. You can see there is a circular groove is formed between the active upper segment and distended lower segment. You can see that this is the distended lower segment and this is the upper segment. Between the upper and lower segment, there is a groove, circular groove is formed. It is called pathological retraction ring, otherwise known as Bandl's ring. Next, we can see the clinical features. So the patient is agony and exhausted. And abdominal palpation reveals hard and tender upper segment. You can see this is the lower segment and the upper segment. You can see there is a groove in between the segment. It can be seen. Here is the lower segment. This is the upper segment. So in between the upper and lower segment, there will be groove. So hardening and tender upper segment, tender and distended lower segment. Lower segment will be distended, and Bandl ring is placed obliquely between the umbilicus. You can see there is umbilicus in between, and in the symphysis pubis, and raises upward. You can see there is upward course of time, and FHS will be absent. So it will be increase upward and the FHS will be absent. This is the Bandl rings. Then usually in the normal labor, you can see the uterine contractions of how the upper segment and will be circular form. It is steady form. Okay. So but in the obstructive labor, when it is the lower segment is relaxed and it will become thin and it will be circular form. That is and between that junction there will be Bandl rings is formed. This is the obstructed labor in that way. Then internal examination reveals dry and hot vagina, offensive discharge, cervix fully dilated and membranes absent. Then the treatment, rupture of the uterus is to be excluded. We have to check for any uterine rupture, and correction dehydration, and because the labor may be prolonged, that's why we have to correct the dehydration and the ketoacidosis by oral infusion. Adequate pain relief should be provided, and antibiotics should be given, and cesarean section is the method of management. Next is spastic lower segment. The uterine contraction will be fundal dominance is lacking, then inadequate relaxation in between the contraction. So the in between the contraction, the relaxation is inadequate relaxation between the contraction. Not proper relaxation. The correct relaxation time will not be adequate. That means first relaxation time is 2, second will be 3, next will be 4. Like the 4 to like the difference will be the inadequate relaxation in between the contraction. And basal tone is raised above the critical level of the 20 mm per hg. The basal tone means the tightness. Basal tone you should be raised to above the level of 20 mm of hg. This is the spastic lower segment. We can see this is the spastic contractions occur in the lower segment. And how can we die? The patient is in agony with unbearable pain referred to the back. There are evidence of dehydration and ketoacidosis. Bladder is frequently distended, and often there is retention of urine may be occur, and distension of the stomach and bowels are visible, and there is premature attempts to bear down. Or the patient may feel like they are fully dilated and trying to push. That is the premature attempt to bear down. Then abdominal palpation reveals the uterus is tender and gently manipulation excites hardening of the uterus with the pain. When we are manipulating, gentle manipulation of the uterus, then we hardening, and pain may be patient may feel the pain, and palpation of the fetal parts will be difficult, and fetal distress appear easily. Then internal examination may reveal cervix which is thick, edematous, hangs loosely like a curtain, not well applied to the presenting part. Then inappropriate dilatation of cervix can be seen, and absence of the membranes and meconium stained liquid amni may be there. So these are the diagnosis we usually done with the spastic lower segment. So patient is in agony, bladder is frequently distended, and premature attempt to bearing down. Abdominal palpation reveals uterus is tender and gentle manipulation is pain, and palpation of the fetal heart is difficult, and there may be fetal distress appears early, and internal examination reveals the cervix with the thick edematous and hangs freely like a curtain, and inappropriate dilatation of cervix, absence of membrane and meconium stained liquid amni. That is a spastic lower segment. Then effects on the fetus. Fetal distress appears early due to placental insufficiency caused by inadequate relaxation of the uterus. Because of if there should be relaxation between each contraction, but otherwise the fetal baby go to the distress. So that's why the baby may go for the fetal distress. Then management. Cesarean section is done in majority of cases. Then pain management. We already explained you severe pain will be there. So pain management should be given, and correction of dehydration, and avoid oxytocin augmentation because the contraction is. Next is constriction ring, otherwise known as shoulders ring. It is a form of incoordinate uterine action where there is localized spastic contraction of the ring of circular muscle fibers of the uterus. So you can see from this picture here there is a string can be formed. There is a ring of circular muscle fibers. There is a spastic contractions occur. Localized. This is local portion. So there is a between the shoulder and the head there is a contraction occur. Usually situated at the junction of upper and lower segment around the constricted part of the fetus, usually around the neck. So this is the constriction ring. We can see the common causes are injudicious administration of oxytocins, premature rupture of membranes, premature attempt at instrument delivery. So these are the common causes of constriction ring. Diagnosis: ring is not felt or abdomen and it is revealed LSCS in first stage, during forceps application in second stage and during removal in the third stage. So these time we will usually identify this constriction ring, and it is also known as hourglass contraction. Management: based on the stage at which diagnosis is made, first stage cut vertically to deliver. The first stage, if we identify the constriction ring, we have to do the vertical cut to deliver the baby. In second stage, in the LSCS session time, if we are performing, we will do the in second stage. If we feel the constriction ring, we have to go for the LSCS section, and it should be performed. And the third stage, we are finding deepening of the plane of the anesthesia. We have to give deep anesthesia to relax the this constriction ring. This is the management of constriction ring. Next topic is cervical dystocia. It is an abnormal labor as a result of ineffectual cervical dilatation. So cervical dilation will not be properly occur. That is an ineffectual cervical dilatation. That's why there will be abnormal labor. It is a failure of the cervical dilatation. Cervix is not dilated properly. That is a failure of cervical dilatation. It is known as cervical dystocia. Causes are inefficient uterine contraction because of improper or inefficient uterine contraction, malpresentation, malposition, spasm of cervix, and previous trauma. These are causes of cervical dystocia. We can see there are two types of cervical dystocia: the primary cervical dystocia and secondary cervical dystocia. The primary cervical dystocia: structurally normal cervix that does not open and relax, associated with the tension and pain due to failure of external os to dilate and ineffective uterine contraction. Due to ineffective uterine contraction and due to the tension, due to pain, or the external os is failed to dilate. That is a primary cervical dystocia, but the cervix is normally occur. Next is a treatment. Treatment is LSCS in presence associated complication. If head is low down with only thin rim of cervix left behind, rim may be pushed up manually. So that is we can by the use of a finger, and we are doing the cervical pervaginal examination, we can push the rim of the cervix manually during the contraction, or the retraction is given by windows. And in others, where cervix is much thinned out but only half dilated, then Duhausen incision, that is known as, that is the 2 o'clock position followed by forceps or Wendo's extraction is quite safe and effective. So this is the 2 o'clock direction. We can give a cut into the cervix. That is there will be a incision is made in the cervix. That is 2 o'clock direction. There will be a cut is made. That is known as a Duhausen's incision is made. Then the cervix will be some more bigger. So baby can be delivered or can be delivered by the forceps or Wendo's extraction. We can complete the delivery. Next is a secondary cervical dystocia. This type of cervical dystocia results from excess scarring or rigidity of the cervix from previous birth, operations or cancer. That's why this is the cervical dystocia. It is occurring by the excess scarring or rigidity of the cervix from previous birth, operations or cancer. Treatment is only we have to go for LSCS. Next is the topic is generalized tonic contractions. In this pronounced retraction occurs involving whole of the uterus up to the level of inner. So there is this retraction occurs whole of it is usually occur in every part of the uterus. Thus there is no physiological differentiation of active upper segment and passive lower segment of the uterus. This is the generalized tonic. This contraction occurring every part of the means in between the part of the uterus. The causes are failure to overcome the obstruction by powerful contraction of the uterus and injudicious administration of oxytocins. These are the causes of Then clinical features: prolonged labor having severe and continuous pain and tense and tender uterus, small in size, and fetal parts are not palpable and fetal heart rate not audible. So these are the clinical features. Then how can we identify? By examination or vaginal examination, caput formation, dry and edematous vagina will be seen in the generalized tonic contractions. Treatment: correction of dehydration and ketoacidosis by rapid infusion of RL, because it may cause prolonged labor. So patient may go for the dehydration and ketoacidosis. That's why rapid infusion of ringer lactate should be given, and antibiotics to prevent the infection. Analgesics should be provided. Tocolytic should be provided, and cesarean section when obstruction suspected. These are the treatment. Next, we can see the difference between the constriction ring and the retraction ring. In constriction ring, that is manifestation of localized incoordinated uterine action. Then undue irritability of the uterus will be there and present at the junction of the upper and lower segment. That is the lower segment usually at the constricted part. They already shown before, and upper segment contract and retract with relaxation in lower segment remains thick and loose. But in the retraction ring, end result of tonic uterine contraction and retraction, there will be obstructed labor, always situated at the junction of upper and the lower segment. And upper segment is tonically contracted with no relaxation. But here we can see with relaxation, the lower segment remains thick and loose. Then constriction ring, maternal condition is almost unaffected unless labor is progress. Uterus feels normal, fetal parts are easily felt, and ring is not felt per abdominally, and fetal heart rate is usually present. Retraction ring, features of maternal exhaustion and sepsis appear early. Here maternal condition is not affected. We already explained this constriction. Maternal condition is not affected, but here maternal exhaustion and sepsis appear early. Then uterus here feels normal in the constriction, but here in the retraction uterus is tense and tender. And fetal parts are easily felt in the constriction, but retraction would not be easily felt. And ring is not felt, but ring is felt as a groove placed obliquely in the retraction. FHS is usually present in the constriction, but the retraction ring is absent. So that's all about the difference between constriction and the retraction ring. This is the mode of management. Till now we discussed. I think all of you clearly understood about the abnormal uterine action. So till now we discussed about the abnormal uterine action such as uterine inertia, then precipitate labor, tonic uterine contraction and retraction, obstructed labor, spastic lower segment, constricting ring, and cervical dystocia. That's all. Thank you.